Hello everyone. Today I'm going to explain and demonstrate our midterm laboratory 1, which consists of problem 1 and problem 2. This serves as our first laboratory task for our midterms. Let's begin with problem number 1. So this is the output, but we will skip this for now. Instead, I will focus on the code itself first. What differentiates this code from our prelim laboratory task is that this system or this code already uses functions. Functions is a block of code that you can just call and pass parameters or arguments, and that code block will then be executed. This is a great approach, especially when it comes to reusability and when a system becomes larger and more complex. So let's begin with the problem 1. The first problem or the first system is an even and odd counter. Here we have a function called check even odd. Here def means define. We are defining a code block of a function. This is the define, the function name, and the parameter. Inside the parameter, we have a variable name called num, and inside of this code block, we have an if condition. If num is modulo 2 is equals to 0, this means if num is divisible by 2 and equals to 0, it will then return a string called even. Else, it will return a string with the content of the word odd. Here we have even count variable. It is defaulted in a 0 value. And here we have odd count, and it is also assigned with a 0 default value. Here we have a looping statement for I in range up to 5. Number, the variable, is equals to int input. This is an input statement where the user should input the number or the value. It accepts integer value again by default. In Python, input function accepts strings or interprets any input as string. So if we want a value to be an integer, we have to convert them first because the input function reads them as a string. So int input, enter number I plus 1. Then here we have result, a new variable, is equals check even odd number. This number will then be passed to this function. Here we have an if condition again. If result is equals to even count will have plus equals 1. It will be added here. Else odd count plus equals 1. If it's an odd number, it will then be added here. So for the print statements, we have here I'm using again an f string where we will use f before the string, and we will just call out the variable name inside of curly brace. Here we have f total even numbers, the even count, and print f total odd numbers odd count, which is here. The output of this code is this one. The user inputs 5 numbers: 4, 3, 8, 7, and 9. 4, this is an even number, so we now have one even number. 3, this is an odd number, we now have our first odd number. 8 is an even number, this will be our second even number. 7 is an odd number, this will be our second odd number. And 9 is an odd number, this will be our third odd number. And after that, it will then print all the even numbers, which are 2 and 3. 2 even numbers, 4 and 8, and 3 odd numbers, 3, 7, and 9. And as usual, process finished with exit 0 code. That means the program run and executed successfully with no issues or warnings. For the problem 2, we have here, where is that? Let me just look for it. The code. Oh yeah, this is the actual code. Let me just skip that. Here we have, for the problem 2, a factorial calculator. This is the output again, but let's just skip that for now. Instead, we'll focus here with the main code. This is just a very short code. Again, we are using a function. Define, find factorial, the function name, the parameter n, factorial variable is equals to 1. For I in range 1, n plus 1, factorial times equals I. And we will then return factorial. Here we have num variable is equals to int, again, an input statement. We will get an input from the user, then we have to convert it into int and store it in the num variable. After this, enter a number. It will then print f string factorial is equals to the variable factorial num. And the output of this code is this one. The user inputs 5. The system will then calculate that input value. Then at the second line, it will just print factorial is equals to the answer, which is 120. That's all. Thank you for watching.